Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ron from International Trade Council. So before we start, I just want to do an audio check for those people who's currently listening. You please type in yes on the comment section if you can hear my voice. All right, thank you, Ron. So I think the audio is clear right now. How about the others? And while we are waiting for the response, so just a quick housekeeping. So basically, the presentation for today will be lasted for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then after the speaker finish the presentation, she will be able to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type in your question on the comment section of this platform. So our speaker for today is Marina Cooperman Villatoro. She has been an entrepreneur for over 25 years, having founded and scaled both the Travel Experta and the Trader Check. Her success as a business influencer, author, and TEDx organizer stems from her lifelong passion for freedom, how to find it, how to fund it, and how to enjoy it. She specializes in helping people to get started in the financial world with confidence and ease, but totally simplify the process. In this free webinar, you'll be able to discuss busting myths when it comes to day trading and investing, understanding financial markets to lingo and applying it to your strategy. Also, learn what are market movements and pattern explains, and simplify indicators and technical analysis and putting it all together. So without any further ado, I'm going to give the stage to Marina. Go ahead, Marina. Sorry, I think I lost her. 1 second, guys. While we are waiting, I just want to make sure that you can guys hear me. Can you please type in yes on the chat box? Okay. It's all right. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ron. I'll get back to you in a few minutes, guys. I'll just want to make sure what happened to Marina. I don't know if he lost connection, if she lost connection.
Hi.
Hi, sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, we lost you there. So, yeah, she's
Hi.
back.
That was so weird.
Okay. Yeah, can you share your screen right now so you can start?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Sorry
All
about that.
right.
I don't know. Did I miss the intro?
No, I actually almost done when
Okay.
we lost you here. Anyway, yes. So, without any further ado, I'm going to put the stage to Marina. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Hi, everybody. That was a great dramatic entrance for me. I was here talking the whole time with Ron, and then when it was my turn, of course, that's when it decides to check on my mics and cameras. But thanks everybody for being here. I'm really, really excited to be here. This is my first time on this platform, so I guess I'm kind of learning the new stuff around. And again, I appreciate you guys all taking your time to be here. And where are you all from? Because this is such a new platform for me. I would love to know, where are you guys coming in from? You could put it in the chat box just so I have an idea where everybody is here. And yeah, I'm curious. So put it in if you can. From Germany, England, Ghana. One of my closest friends' son was born in Ghana. Nice. From India, Lebanon. Oh my God, I love this international group. This is so amazing. Well, thanks for all being here. I am really excited. So the point of today's presentation, let me get into here, will be about the financial markets, right? And having the basics of the financial markets. So before we get in, I am going to remove from New Delhi as well. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Like I said, all right, let me just remove here we go, so that we can focus on the presentation. And I want to do a quick intro so you guys do know who I am. I am Marina, the Trader Chick. And this is me right here. So I'm actually an expat. I'm coming to you from Guatemala. I live in Guatemala. I've been living in Guatemala for over 13 years, in Central America now for almost 20 years. And I got into the financial markets when I was pretty young. For my high school graduation gift, my father gave me stocks. This was so long ago now. This is like, oh my gosh, almost 30 years ago. He gave me this one stock as a gift. And he first gave it to me, it was maybe like $4,000 or $5,000. And within like a little while, it went up to $16,000. And I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Should I sell? What should I do? And my father, who also at that point had very little knowledge in the financial markets, like, no, hold on. And within a year, that company went bankrupt and my 16,000 went to zero. And instead of turning me away from learning, away and fearing it, it actually kind of sparked my interest in learning the financial markets. And this was back in the early 90s. So way before internet, way before we have the access like we do now. So I started to go to all these different workshops and learning, and to really get involved in the financial markets daily, like day trading, it took a lot. You also had to have $25,000. You had to have money for commissions. I mean, there was all these loopholes. I mean, not loopholes, all these obstacles. So I ended up just starting to invest, right? And that's pretty much how I just started to put a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. And I really started to enjoy the process of learning about the different companies, the different markets and whatnot. But what the thing with investing is that you literally buy and you hold, right? So I'm going to explain that a little bit more. But as time grew, I traveled a lot and had a family. And by the time I was in my late 30s, I started this online business, my travel website. And it came to a point where it became pretty successful. But it came to this one point where, do I want to grow it even more, or am I burnt out? And I was completely burnt out. And that's when I realized it. And it was like 6 months before my 40th birthday. And then I sat down and I was like, what do I really want to do? And that's when I realized that in between all my travels and all my different businesses, I always went back to the financial markets. I always invested and reinvested and this and that. But now I wanted to get a lot more involved, and I wanted to be more of a day trader, which is simply just being part of the market on a daily basis, much more proactive, right? But to get to that point, you have to learn pretty much everything. And day trading is I like to compare day trading to a trauma surgeon, right? To an ER room, but mainly the trauma surgeons themselves, right? Because they're the ones that are making those in the moment decisions that could literally save somebody's life or not, right? It's that kind of decision making that is necessary. But when you have that kind of decision making, trauma surgeons, they have gone through the whole spectrum before they got there to be able to make those decisions and for people to trust them to make those decisions. And day trading brings you through the same thing. So that's why I am definitely in the position to be able to show you how the financial markets work. But one thing I did realize over my time of being in the financial markets, especially in the day trading world, is simplicity beats everything. And getting back to the basics and understanding a lot of the basics, even like the total beginner stuff, which can also be a lot of our limiting beliefs about the financial markets. Once you could clear those out, it really opens you up to becoming more successful, regardless of if you want to be a long-term investor, a swing trader, or a day trader. So that's what my presentation is going to be about, kind of getting back to the basics of the financial markets. So as I said before, I am an expat living in Antigua, Guatemala, and that's the beauty today, right? We can live anywhere in the world to be able to do this. All right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about the difference with day trading and also investing. So why is day trading not like investing, right? So unlike investing, like a lot of us probably hold portfolios. It could be whatever your portfolio will be, right? Maybe you have a lot of different stocks, or maybe you have some stocks, you have some real estate, you have maybe some crypto, you maybe have, it's diversified. So if somebody wants to be more interactive, more proactive on a daily basis, especially, it's really not a good idea to diversify, unlike when we invest, right? Because when we invest, it's a whole other thing. Like I said before, you find one company, you really study, you put money in it, and you can walk away from it, right? But with day trading, we don't really care anything about that, right? It's similar to what I like to bring up. For instance, if your child comes up to you and they're like, hey, I really want to learn how to play a musical instrument. You're like, okay, awesome. Which musical instrument? They're like, well, I want to learn how to play the violin, the flute, the guitar, the piano. And you look at them and you're like, that's not possible to master them all, right? They're super different. You need to focus on the one. So when you focus on that one instrument, that's when you could become a master at it, right? And that really holds true when you want to be in the market on a daily basis, right? However, if you want to invest, it's a whole other thing. Why? Because the cool thing about when you are an investor in different companies, right? For instance, even today's world with crypto, it's still good to know the different projects, what's going on for that longer term understanding. So I'll give a good example. Everybody in the world knows Apple, right? So if I want to be an investor in Apple, I really care about when their iPhone 13, iPhone 14 is going to come out, when their Apple smart car is going to come out, right? Because I'm investing in them. But if I am doing it on a day trading level, as a day trader, or even as a swing trader, so if you don't know what a swing trader is, or I've never heard that term, basically day trading is you're literally in and out of that position in the same exact day. Swing trading, you could hold on for 2-3 days, maybe even up to a month, but you don't really care about that long term as a long term investor would, right? So that's really the main thing, is that investors really care about the project or the company that they are putting in, and they could live through the ups and downs. Right now, I don't know if you guys are watching the markets, but they've been really bloody, right? The majority of February has been more in the blood red zone than in the green zone. So if you're an investor, it's actually a really good time to probably look to enter some things just to hold longer. Or if you already have some of your investments in, you don't want to be panic selling and get out, because being an investor, you just deal with the ups and downs. However, if you're going to be doing like day trading or even like really short term, then you want to be able to see what's going on, because what we could also do is make money when the market goes down, right? And that's really the coolest part about day trading and even swing trading, is to be able to short the market. So we've all heard about, buying. It's when you buy at a lower price point, exit at a higher price point. But the cool thing with day trading and swing trading is you could also sell or short the market, meaning you buy it at a higher price point because you are watching the charts and seeing that the market is going to go further down, and you exit out at a lower price point, and you'll take that profit in between. So that's a really big difference between day traders and financial and long-term investors, right? So, as I mentioned, a lot of times the majority of people have a hard time with financial markets because there's all these myths and misconceptions. And I want to get past those because I find that those are the ones that hold a lot of people back and end up making wrong decisions because of it. And back to the trauma surgeon with all their knowledge that is packed in there, it's all about the decisions that they are making, right? So making good and bad decisions is really what it's all about in the financial markets. Okay, so one of the biggest misconceptions is that you need to have $25,000 to get started. And I'm not even talking about for the day trading purposes in general. And that's a complete and total lie. Maybe back in like the 20th century, that was the essence. But today you could literally start with $500, $1,000. You do not need this kind of money at all to get started. And that's the beauty of it, right? So a lot of people don't even get into the market fearing that they need to have a lot more money to get started. Just get started small, right? Today we have like these really cool apps like Robinhood. You don't even need to buy an entire share today. You can literally buy a portion, right? So that's the beauty of it. Like you could get past that. The other thing is I get a lot of people that are like, oh, but I don't have, math knowledge. I don't have any financial background. I don't either. I have I don't care about it. There's no reason math should come into play at all, or a financial background, because none of that is important, right? So math, in this case, the only thing you should need math for is your profit and your losses, and you can use a calculator for that. Financial background, the majority of experts out there speaking, they all have their own agenda, and they like to sound more complex than the situation really is. Okay, and that's something that's really important for people to understand. You do not need to have any of that. You could start to go into the market and simply have a good time. Okay, the other thing is that a lot of people are seeing is all these different monitors and all these different softwares and all these indicators and all these shiny lights. It is so not necessary. On the contrary, I personally don't even see how this is sustainable, right? You cannot be watching all of these different things going on all over the place. It's just impossible. My husband had this one favorite sitcom, one funny like series that he used to watch. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It was called King of Queens. It's an old series. I don't even know if it's on TV anymore. Maybe, I don't know. It's been off like 10 years. Anyways, there's this one really funny episode where the main character, this is back like 20 years ago, right? Bought a 96-inch television, and he had DirecTV. I don't know if you guys remember DirecTV, right? Before Netflix, before everything else. And they're sitting in this small little TV room, and because DirecTV has like 1,300 channels, they're flipping the channels every 5 seconds. And one of the friends is like, stop. You're going to trigger my epilepsy. And honestly, whenever I look at this layout, I feel like this is going to trigger my epilepsy. Even if I don't have it, it's going to trigger something in me that is not good. You do not need to have all of this going on to be successful in day trading, investing, none of it. You can literally have just one, right? And that also is a better reason to stick to that one thing that really interests you, so you are not totally scattered. It's not possible to be watching all of this all at once. Okay, so another massive misconception is whenever people hear somebody say, oh yeah, I've invested in this, or I'm day trading, they're always like, oh, what stocks are you doing? And interestingly enough, the stock market itself is only about 25% of the entire market. So what I want to kind of break down is a lot of people don't realize all the other opportunities that are there. And interestingly enough, Forex, which is foreign exchange, is probably the largest day trading industry of all. Out of all the financial markets, Forex is the one. And the way Forex works is that you pair different currencies, right? You could pair the US with the yen, or the US with the euro, or euro with the, this and that, right? So you pair them together versus you have to have a pair, right? You cannot have three different things going on. So that's the best thing to do. And to see, I am saying that the US is going to grow. That's how the Forex market works. But then we also have equities, right? So what is equities? It's stocks, right? So because I'm a US citizen, I could talk more from the US perspective, but I know that every market in the world has their own stock market, and it pretty much works similarly, right? Because it's really good to, focus, because for instance, in the US market, there's over 5,000 different equities to do, right? So it's good to maybe start to narrow it down to sectors, maybe like pharmaceuticals, technology, entertainment, so and so, right? Or you could also go into like the bigger companies, like we have the S&P 500, right, which is the Standard & Poor's, or we have the NASDAQ. These are the bigger companies, right? And they also could be indexes. So that makes it much easier to trade and work with, or even to buy long-term, is indexes, right? Then we could also focus on just certain types of stocks. And I know that a lot of stocks from different countries can be traded on the US market and vice versa, right? That you just have to find them in your particular country. Then we have futures, commodities. Commodities is actually an international market. There is no real barriers other than your broker, right? You have to find the broker that is in your country that works with the platforms. So what is futures or commodities, right? Commodities we all know of as like oil, wheat, sugar. Those are all commodities, right? They were physical products. However, because every single one of these is a market, so they also want to expand themselves, their businesses. So the futures market or the commodities market also expanded, and you could also trade or invest in the different indexes, right? You could look up all the different kinds of indexes out there, and you could do it on excuse me, on the futures market. Hang on a second. Let me grab some water. And then there's options, right? You could put different options. There's calls and there's puts, but it is an entire market of its own. So if you're going to get into the whole options market, you really need to understand what that is going on there, and understand that it plays very separately from the rest, right? You can't be looking at an option while looking at the Apple stock. They don't work the same way. So you have to understand that they are separate as well. And now today, in the past 3 years, I think the boom of crypto overall has been out just completely incredible. And that is 100% international, zero borders. And that's literally the purpose of crypto, is to decentralize it, right? Is to not have those banks or whatnot that keeps you bounded. So, but again, with crypto, a lot of people think of crypto as Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is one out of 6,000 different projects and currencies or tokens that are out there. So the thing with crypto is there's many different exchanges, and a lot of the exchanges don't offer all of the projects. The majority of them just kind of offer like mainstream. So you need to focus on that. And crypto is also, it's great for holding. Personally, I'm not a big fan of day trading it because I think it's just way too erratic. It's still very much an emerging market. It's very much an emerging world in general. So for it to be day traded, it could be really, really volatile. Not volatile enough, but very erratic, right? Volatile is more fluidity and the volume, right? And you have to look at that to watch that. So anyways, these are the different markets that you could get into nowadays. So it's not just stocks. It's not just equities anymore, right? Like how people used to believe that is. And that's a big misconception that kept a lot of people from entering. And with crypto, you could enter crypto with like 50 bucks. You don't even need a lot of money to get started, right? Okay, so one thing that is really important that I do want to really touch upon, and again, this does not matter where you are in the world and which financial market you are with, but it helps to know which you are going to be focusing on. So if you want to go into crypto or if you want to go into equities, you need to find the correct broker. Right. So if I want to go into crypto, I'm not going to go with my broker that specializes in equities. Why? First of all, they don't have access to the amount of crypto projects out there. Secondly, they will charge me absolutely ridiculous commissions, right? And the other thing is they might not have the feed, the live and real time data because that's not where their platform is. So if you, whatever you end up deciding to do, if you want to go into futures, excuse me, make sure that you're looking at the futures broker, right? You're not just going into, a crypto and then wondering why there's no futures there. So having that understood is very, very important. And the other thing that is even more important, I don't know how it is in other countries, but the US is notorious for this. Brokers will tell you that you will get an added benefit or perk by getting a margin account. And a lot of people they're shooting for those margin accounts, right? And that's why they want to put in a little bit more money. Margin accounts, in my perspective, it's loan sharking. What does that mean? So literally what a margin account is, you have $1,000, but the broker is like, you know what? We'll give you a margin account of $1,000, meaning once you use up your 1,000, you could borrow another 1,000. You could use another 1,000 on us to buy whatever you want. But they don't tell you the hidden details. You still have to pay them back. On top of that, you have to pay them with a huge interest. So in the US, they pretty much give it to you automatically for a lot of times, especially if you have a certain amount of money. It is not obligatory. It is not mandatory. And you could tell them absolutely not. So I do not want a margin account. I do not want this. So just remember that when you are opening up a broker's account. So you're going to also hear a lot of different terminology, which I think is super important for you to understand no matter what you want to do, day trade or long-term invest. Whenever you're hearing that there's a bull market, literally, or people say it's bullish, that literally just means that the market is going up. That's it. There's nothing more to it. It's pretty basic, right? Or that was a bull run. That just means that it was going up. The same thing is for a bear market. What is a bear market? It's just market going down. You'll hear the market is being bearish or the market, is trending down. That's all it is. It's in a bear market. That means we're going down, right? Does not mean anything else. People want to say it's a recession. We don't know. At the moment, it's a bear market. Who knows if it's a recession? Nobody really knows, right? So that's something important. The other thing that's really important that a lot of people don't realize is that you could have a sideways market. And you can have a consolidating market. And that usually happens after you have a massive run up or a massive run down. The market will take like a break, right? It will just slow down and it just becomes a sideways market. So that kind of market you really don't want to buy into because it's very indecisive. You're not sure if it's going to go up or if it's going to go down, right? So as I said before, really, really important when you're hearing people say, I want to go long, or I'm buying, all it means is that they are entering at a lower price and exiting at a higher price. That's literally what that means, right? So whenever you're hearing, or if anybody is saying, hey, are you going to go long or you want to buy? That's what that means, right? So the same thing is for going short or selling. It literally means that you are entering the market at a higher price point and you are exiting the market at a lower price point. Okay, so that's all that there is to it. And you're taking that profit in between. So whenever you hear somebody say, I'm selling or I'm shorting the market, That's what it means. They're saying that they believe the market is going to go lower and they want to profit from it. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen that movie, The Big Short. If not, I highly recommend it. It is a brilliant movie, but it is literally talking about the biggest short in history, right? Where these, I personally believe that they are, outliers, geniuses who recognize when the market is going to start to plummet. And they betted on that, right? They shorted the market. Okay, so I wanted to do a little bit of live market analysis just to kind of show you, but I'm not sure if you guys are really into that. In the meantime, if there are any questions that I could answer, this will be a really good time for you to come up with some questions and let me know what you think. And if not, I will share. Hang on a second. I'm not sure how to share. Oops, I just stopped the sharing. Hang on a second. All right, let's see. So can you see my, yeah, all right. So this is what a live market looks like, right? Because I day trade, I look at charts that will give me, very, very short amount of time. But it's interesting to see just in, so right here, this is from the day, and it actually began. My market begins at 5 p.m. from last night. Um, Anyways, so here is a really good example of when I talk about a sideways market, right?
Um,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
it's not.
I'm sorry, Marina.
Hi,
I
yes.
think you're sharing the wrong screen. We cannot see. Can you share it
Oh,
again?
okay. Hang on a sec. Let me see how that. Um. All right. So I'm sharing my entire screen. Are
Yep.
you able to see my chart?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, okay. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so here is what I was saying, my charts, right? So from this line right here, this is the day break. So this is the past, I don't know, 18 hours, I'd say, right here. But I just want to, it's a nice quick abbreviation showing you how the market really works. So here's when the market is a bullish market, it's trending up. Here's the market heading down, right? Hang on a second here. Let me, oops. So this is the market. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Going down, right? This is the bearish market. This here we have is a sideways market, right? It's slowing down. It doesn't really have much movement. And then here we have that trending market up, right? And this happens on small scales, on large scales, but you need to watch it and understand what's going on because sometimes when the market is in that sideways market, it won't continue. It can totally transition and start to head in a different direction. So it's a good idea to really understand and see that there are three very distinct markets and trends overall. Okay. So that pretty much is the absolute basics of. Hang on a second. I just lost everything. Hang on. All right, one second. I'm sharing again. Okay. So basically that's the basics, right? I don't really understand. I don't really know how much you guys are into your financial process, but this is like something that will really get everybody started on the right foot. And if you have any more questions or if you want to dig deeper into the day trading portion of it, you could always find me at the Trader Chick, anything Trader Chick. And that's where I have a lot of, actually, I have a lot of freebies of getting more into how to start to day trade and more basic information overall. So if there's any more questions, please let me know. I'm happy to respond, to answer any of them.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that very interesting presentation. So yeah, please feel free to type in your questions on the comment section. While we are waiting for the question, I will just activate the group fee wherein we can this only for documentation. So you will ask by the platform to take a selfie. So you will have a documentation for this event. So while we are doing this, please feel free to type in your questions on the comment section, okay? All right. So yeah, I'm just waiting for other people to just take a. Okay. Yep. There's one question here. We'll answer that question after we finish this groupie. Marina, did you receive the invite to take a photo?
Yeah, I just did. I already took
Okay.
mine.
Perfect. And for others, please, you can already, can you see the questions, Marina?
Yeah, I'm looking at
Yeah,
them right now.
you can already answer the question while we are waiting for others to take the
Okay,
selfie.
so can you elaborate a bit on how to use chart techniques? Sure. You mean like when you mean techniques, do you mean indicators or do you mean drawing tools? What does that mean? Drawing tools. Okay, so let me share with you my screen. Hang on a second. Oh, I can't share my screen. Okay, so everybody has access to charts, right? The majority of our brokers today gives us charting softwares. However, there are so many different amazing free charting softwares out there. Trading View, I don't know if what is it, MetaTrader, and they all have they all have drawing tools part of it. You could just go and find wherever it's like little pencil and you could just use the drawing tools and they usually have pretty much anything you need, but if as long as you have a way to draw a line or a rectangle, that's pretty much like the beginning of it. Like that's the best way to begin starting, right? Sushant, ma'am, please advise if hospitality is high market or short market. I am not a financial advisor, so that is not for me to talk to you about, but think of hospitality as you would explain to your kid, right? If your child asks, "Hey, is hospitality good right now?" We've been in COVID, so hospitality has been on a slowdown for a little bit, right? So right now, to be honest with you, maybe it's still a good time, but hospitality is going to boom again once COVID is completely finished. So those are some things that you could simply consider, just like the travel industry was brutally hit in the past 2 years, right? But we are going to travel. I mean, people are desperate to travel, right? Hospitality is part of travel. That's the hotel industry, that's the food and beverage industry, right? So you could understand what is might not be good right now will be eventually. So it depends on also where do you want to go? Do you want to be long term? Do you want to be in and out quickly? You have to also realize what it is. Right. Ron, you said like the 50 line and the 200 line, day line. So there are many, many different moving averages. That's what you're talking about. So I think I could share with you right now. Yeah. Here, let me share with you my chart. Okay, so every single platform is a teeny bit different, but they all pretty much work the same. So you will have access to indicators. Indicators, the majority of them are all universal, right? So you're looking for moving average. So all you would have to look for, it's usually called the MA. So we have MA here, or I personally use the EMA, which is the exponential moving average, but here we have the moving average ribbon. Again, you have to look at your own software to see what is the name for your moving averages. So I use the EMA, which is the, excuse me, exponential moving average. Hang on one second. Right, so this is the exponential moving average, or you could use right here, you could change that around, all of that. So I use the 52 period, which is 52 weeks. Okay, so that's what I look at. So it's a good idea to understand which indicator you want to be looking at that makes the most amount of sense to you. But pretty much all platforms, they give you universal indicators. That's the beauty of it. Okay. Okay, so let me know if there's any other questions.
So I think okay, there's another question here.
Okay, what is the scope of financial markets for VR industry? What is VR? I don't know what VR is. Shivan, so let me know. Virtual reality. I'm getting in on as much virtual reality as I can. That's more like metaverse. So that is very, very, very few companies right now are into metaverse, right? Except for other than Meta or Facebook. So the majority of that stuff is more in the crypto sector, right? So you need to find the companies that have the virtual, like you could either buy into virtual reality itself, go and buy into the metaverse itself, buy, like virtual land or virtual games, whatnot, or you could go and do the coins, right? Like the currencies, they all, a lot of them have their own tokens. So I absolutely think that we are so early. And if you are planning on doing it in 5 years, go bonkers, man. But just do your due diligence, do your work, right? Like you cannot just buy just like that. Okay. You need to do your work, your homework. Hopefully that makes sense.
All right. So any more questions? I think Marina, can you type in your contact details here on the chat box so they can just copy it easier? So if they have any more inquiry in the future, maybe they have your contact information.
Sure. You could go to my website or you could write me directly at my Gmail, at my mail, thetraderchick@gmail.com.
Okay, perfect. So any other question, guys? All right. So I don't think there's another questions here. So before we end the webinar, I would like to thank you guys for attending, and Marina, thank you for that very interesting presentation. Any final words before we end?
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you guys being here as well. And thanks for all the fun questions.
Perfect. Thank you guys for attending, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future webinars. Thank you, Marina. Have a good day, guys.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.